Okay, Nivedita ma'am, start. We are live now. You can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are very happy to welcome you to the Interschool debate competition. We are equally happy to see such a good flow of participants from across the globe. Amidst the pandemic, when we were thinking about how to make our students more aware about various things, it came to us that we always talk about fundamental duties, whereas no one really talks about fundamental rights, how fundamental duties are equally important. So, to have responsible citizens, it's not only important that we stress on fundamental rights, but also on the duties that are expected out of us. That is when this topic came to us. We are extremely happy to collaborate with Shadra District Legal Service Authority. And I would like to welcome you all to this debate. We are now going to have an invocation song by Yogjyoti ma'am, and then we'll start off with the program. I request Yogjyoti ma'am to start up with the invocation song.
सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं
सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं
वरदे कामरूपिणी
वरदे कामरूपिणी
विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि
विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि
सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा
सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा
वन्दे मातरम्
वन्दे मातरम्
वन्दे मातरम्
वन्दे मातरम्
सानि सानि सा
सारेगमपनि धनि धनि
सारेगमपधा पधा पधा सानि सा प सानि सा प सानि सा प सारेगमप सानि सानि सा
सारेगमपनि धनि धनि
सारेगमपधा पधा पधा सानि सा प सानि सा प सानि सा प साथ चले हम साथ रहे हम मंजिल एक हमारी प्यार हो हर दिल में इतना नफरत मिटाए सारी साथ चले हम साथ रहे हम मंजिल एक हमारी प्यार हो हर दिल में इतना नफरत मिटाए सारी साथ चले हम साथ रहे हम सानी सारे गरे सानी सारे गरे सागरे सनी थपनी थपमा
नी धनि सरि सनि धनि सरि सनि गरि सनि धप म पध प
सानी सारे गरे सानी सारे गरे सागरे सनि धपनी धपमा
नी धनि सरि सनि धनि सरि सनि गरि सनि धप म पध प
आज बनाए इस जग को हम खुशियों का आंगन
सबके होठों पे मुस्काए झूमे गाए मन
आज बनाए इस जग को हम खुशियों का आंगन
सबके होठों पे मुस्काए, झूमे गाए मन।
दूजे के लिए है जीना, एक दूजे के लिए है जीना, पूजा है ये हमारी। प्यार हो हर दिल में इतना, नफरत मिटाए सारी। साथ चले हम, साथ रहे हम, मंजिल एक हमारी। प्यार हो हर दिल में इतना, नफरत मिटाए सारी। साथ चले हम, साथ रहे हम, 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 साथ चले हम, साथ रहे हम,
Thank you. Song. Now, before we go ahead, I would like to announce the rules of the competition once again. So, each participant will be given 1.5 minutes to speak. The judgment criteria is as follows. We have a total of 40 marks. We have organization and clarity for 10 marks. Coherence of ideas will also have 10 marks. Delivery and presentation of the candidate will carry 10 marks. And at last, we'll look at expression, where we'll focus on the pronunciation and the diction, again for 10 marks. The decision of the judges will be final and binding. The school identity should not be disclosed. Each participant will talk only about their participant code, and they will respond to the same code. Students will announce whether they'll say for the motion or against the motion and then start speaking. A warning bell will be rung after 1 minute as a warning signal, and after 1.5 minutes as a final signal. So this was just to give an idea to the students and to the judges also of what we are looking for in the rules. Before going ahead, I would like to welcome our judges, our guest of honor. So we have with her, with us, directors are a visionary who has always looked forward and who has given a new direction to our school and to all the branches that has flourished under his guidance. We have with us Mrs. Swapna Nair, Principal, Arvachan International School, who is the strongest pillar of the school and who has, in this lockdown, gone through a lot of trainings herself and has always guided us to do the same. Next, we would like to welcome Mrs. Behl. She's been a professional for over 36 years, and she's been with all leading institutions. She was awarded Swardha Shri and Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Memorial National Teachers Award. She is the Director Academics, JBM Global School, Noida. She's the founder principal of Khaitan Public School in Sahibabad, and she has also been in the head of department geography in DPS Arkipuram. Ma'am has been awarded and recognized by a variety of institutions, which include Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Memorial National Teachers Award 2007-8 Delhi, Spardha Shri Award 2006 Delhi, appointment mentor. She was appointed as a mentor for CBSE for monitoring implementation of continuous and comprehensive evaluation CCE program. We are very honored to have you, ma'am, with us. Next, we have Mrs. Vidhi Gupta, ma'am, who has done her LLB honors from University School of Law and Legal Studies in the year 2000, and thereafter she obtained her LLM degree from the Indian Law Institute in the year 2009 with a gold medal. Prior to joining the Delhi Judicial Services in the year 2013, she has worked as a manager, legal, with Delhi Metro Rail Corporation before being appointed as a secretary of DLSA, District Shahadra. She has looked after various jurisdictions in different courts. Her last posting was Metropolitan Magistrate, Mahila Court at Shahadra District, wherein she dealt with all women related offences. Thereafter, she joined the office of Shahadra District, DLSA, from 2011 2019. Just the definition of what a strong woman would portray in our society. We're very happy to have you, ma'am, with us. Mrs. Rosemary Gaikwad, Principal at the Sheila Global School, has been an educationist for more than 25 years. She has been the school head for more than 5 years now and has been associated with various renowned schools all over India, which includes Delhi Public School chain, St. Francis and St. Xavier's, to just name a few. She has a total experience of 30 years in counting. Well, she's well known for conducting workshops for parents, teachers, and students. She's also a social worker associated with the International St. Vincent de Paul Society that works for mentally challenged and underprivileged children. Next, we have Miss Sakshi Shukla, who works as a content editor and a content creator and an editor at DNA Ventures. Currently, Ma'am is working as an editorial interface with Hindustan Times for over 3 years. Last but not the least, we have Ms. Ritu Rana Ma'am, who is a reporter guest from Dainik Jagran. I'd like to welcome all you to this debate, and I hope we all have a very enriching time and enjoy the process. Now, I would like to begin the debate. So what we have figured out is we have a participant number for each participant, and they'll only respond to the particular number that they have been assigned with. First, we have participant 1 and 2. Participant 1 will be speaking for the motion and participant 2 will speak against the motion. I would like Garima ma'am to kindly allow participant 1 and 2 so that we can start. Sorry, I was on mute. So I was saying that I would request all the judges to kindly mark the students as in when it starts. I mean, they finish recording so that we do not have a problem at the end tallying it up. The judgment sheet has been passed on to you, and it has the participant numbers corresponding to the judgment criterias.
Sneha, I would request you to join as per the number given to you. The number is given to your teacher. Please, we have been removing you from the broadcast because of this reason. Please,
Okay, okay,
it's a
okay.
request. Nivedita ma'am, can Shruti start?
Shruti, let's start.
Okay, ma'am. May I start?
Yes, please.
Moral obligation is a command from the inside, while legal obligation is a demand from the outside. A rejuvenating evening to one and all present here. Today, I, participant number 2, am here to strongly disagree to the notion fundamental duties should be made enforceable in the court of law. Fundamental duties morally, spiritually, and socially unite the nation. However, can these duties actually be made into laws? Well, I strongly oppose this idea, as everything cannot be forced onto the citizens. India is termed to be the world's largest democracy, and if we have to impose everything in our society, what different are we from the communalist countries? We happily fulfill our moral obligation towards our parents, then why not do so for our mother nation? Moreover, half of the population of India does not even know where their next meal is going to come from. I would like to question my worthy opponent. How can we ask these people to fulfill their duties when their rights are not being taken care of? It's easy enough to preach responsibilities over a full belly. However, it's high time we think of the underprivileged before making such serious amendments. There was a reason why these duties were not actually made into laws originally in the constitution. Duties like protecting the security of the country or defending the country have always been taken care of by the Indian citizens enthusiastically, and making them into laws now will just be belittling the Indian character. Thus, I would like to conclude saying only that nation becomes great where the people are self regulated and disciplined in their national commitment. Thank you. I wish you all a very happy Independence Day. Jai Hind.
Deepal, you may start.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I would like to commence my debate from what the former US President John F. Kennedy had famously said. Ask not what the nation has done for you, but what you have done for the nation. Yes, I firmly believe the same. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I take this opportunity to present my views on the pious occasion of the 74th Independence Day. On the topic, fundamental duties should be enforceable in the court of law. Mr. Kennedy's words appear prophetic when we look at the prevailing scenario of India. It is conveniently forgotten that the Constitution expects us to perform certain fundamental duties as responsible citizens. The fundamental duties were added under Article 51A in 1976 under the recommendations of the Swansea Committee. They were taken from the Constitution of the Soviet Union. Unlike the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties were not enforceable by law. The fundamental laws, fundamental duties, and fundamental rights are two sides of the same coin. They are complementary and not exclusive of each other. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar incorporated the civil rights for the depressed class into the law books because he felt that society would change by mere call for change. The same needs to be done now. A nation is only as great as the people who constitute it. It is not the Constitution that has failed us, but we who have failed the Constitution. My dear friends, Constitution empowers the citizen, but we, as citizens, also empower the Constitution by following it, by adhering to it, and by protecting it. I would like to conclude by saying that the Constitution is nobody's preserve. It is everybody's preserve. Thank you. Jai Hind. Happy Independence Day.
Arzu, first tell your contestant number and then start. Okay, you may start.
Ma'am, shall I first tell my participant number?
Yes, tell your participant number and then start.
I am participant number 3. Rights are worthless when duties aren't well performed. We all talk of fulfilling our duties, but are we really doing so? I feel that there is a requisite need for enforcing the fundamental duties. A good evening and a very happy Independence Day to the honorable jury, my worthy opponents, and all my dear friends. I am participant number 3, and I'm glad to get the opportunity to speak for the motion that fundamental duties need to be enforced. I'll start with my first point. Rights are like if rights are without duties, there would be a license to the right holders so that they can perform enormous power and no one will dare to stop them. So I feel strongly that for this reason, so that it does not create a chaos in the society, there is a current need to enforce the fundamental duties. Secondly, fundamental duties will fulfill the legal vacuum, which means that there are situations wherein the citizens do not perform according to the laws. And so this is the right need. So there is a current need of enforcing the fundamental duties. To and the third point is that the this will enhance the feeling of patriotism. And as the citizens of our country, it's our duty to perform all the duties. To end my words, I would say that rights are duties are the real source of right. Jai Hind. Thank you.
A right is an obligation of law, but a duty is an obligation of morality. Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to speak against the motion and I'm participant number 4. Fundamental duties, as mentioned in Article 51A of the Indian Constitution, were added by the 42nd Amendment in 1976. Duties are defined as moral obligations of all citizens to help promote the spirit of patriotism and to uphold the unity of India. And you must understand that enforcing these duties would mean attaching penalties to the violation and non performance of the duty. And duties cannot be performed by someone who is deprived of equal rights and opportunities, as social equality in India has not been achieved yet. For example, the fundamental duty regarding the protection of environment uh, can allow can allow a legally based company to easily sue a small fisherman for violations since he fishes for his daily sustenance but without any legal permission. This brings us to the point that the provision regarding the enforceability can be misused by the citizen, and it will lead to an increase in the workload for an already overburdened judiciary. I would like to conclude by recalling what Mahatma Gandhi believed, that moral persuasion is better rather than forceful adherence. And it is in the spirit of the Constitution that a duty by an obligation only by morality. So I leave it today with this question. As citizens, would you perform these duties with the spirit of our constitution and country, or merely in the fear of sanction? Thank you.
Good evening to the respected teachers, judges, and my dear friends. Today, I, Advija Roy, is going to speak against the topic: should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law? Fundamental duties are not justiciable. Constitution does not provide for their direct enforcement of the courts. Of course, the duties as such are not legally enforceable in the courts of law, sanction in case of their violation or non-completion. But if a law has been made to prohibit an act or conduct in violation of the duty, it would be responsible restriction on the relevant fundamental rights. The fundamental duties are not enforceable by mandamus or any other legal remedy. They are enforceable by law. Now, my learned opponent can easily make a point that if we enjoy our rights, we shall also stop and think on our legal duties. But I would like to say that, do you like restrictions in your own life? Your answer must be no, because no one likes that. Fundamental duties largely impose restrictions on our fundamental rights. For example, if your mother tells you to take care of your younger sibling every time, you may feel happy for 2 to 3 days, but later it would start hampering your study and simply your career. So, simply enforcing fundamental duties would hamper our fundamental rights. I should think that enforceable, enforcing the fundamental duties are not justiciable. Thank you.
Beta, you may start.
Am I audible? Excuse me.
Yes, Bacha, you are audible. You're audible. You can start, okay?
Okay, ma'am, I will start. So, a very good morning to everyone present here. I am participant 14, and today I will be speaking against the motion that should fundamental duties be enforced in the court of law. Now, it is a basic principle of in jurisprudence that every right has a correlative duty and every correlative duty has a correlative right. But the rule is not always absolute. There can be a correlative duty, but there might not be a right, which brings me to a point that I have. Let's talk about farmers. Farmers are the ones that are actually following the duty of preserving and improving the environment, but still they're under so much debt. They're under so much debt that they actually force themselves to kill themselves, and you expect them to not get their rights and still complete these duties, and if they don't, they will pay sanctions for that. Do you really think that would work? Not at all. This, if we actually enforce these laws into our nation, this will actually turn on a rage on mode in our country, and this will not be a very good relationship between the people of the country and the government, which would make us no different than the communist countries, and that would actually result in the downfall of our country because people will be against the people who are actually running the country. This brings me to another point, is that there are always loopholes. Now you must be thinking that what about the rules that are very good for us, like the rule of education, that parents are supposed to give education to their children until they're the age of 14. But what about that person who is not able to pay? What about that person who's under so much pressure that he cannot pay? So to actually take out these important rules, the parliament can take out acts in order to fulfill the needs of certain fundamental duties that you think are very important. And those important duties are fulfilled by those acts. So, loophole completed. And the last, I would like to end my speech by saying that if we enforce these laws, if we enforce these laws into our nation, the people will be getting against the government, which will not be a very good relation. And because some of these rights actually are not enforceable at all, that is why they're not enforced right now as well, because if a person doesn't get a right, they're not supposed to complete a duty as well. At the end, I would like to end my speech by saying that yes, I totally disagree this motion. Fundamental duties should set duties because they're just suggestions by the government and we're expected to complete those. But if we don't want to, we shouldn't, because there are workers out there that actually do complete these duties. Now, at the end of it, I'd like to end my case. Thank you.
To oppose the motion. Should duties be made enforceable?
Yes, Beta, you may start.
I am participant number 8 and I stand to oppose the motion should fundamental duties be made enforceable by the law. Now, what are fundamental duties? Well, they are mainly to abide by the constitution and respect the country, its culture, and stand as law abiding citizens. But enforcing these laws will be a direct hit on the right to freedom in our country. In a population of 1.3 billion people, different people interpret national heritage differently, and trying to get all these. Ma'am, can you hear me? Can you hear me, ma'am?
We can hear you. We can hear you. You keep speaking.
I am participant number 8, and I stand to oppose the motion should fundamental duties be made enforceable by the law. Now, what are fundamental duties? Well, they are mainly to abide by the constitution and respect the country, its culture, and stand as law abiding citizens. But enforcing these laws will be a direct hit on the right to freedom in our country. In a population of 1.3 billion people, different people interpret national heritage differently. And trying to get all these people to follow the duties that they do not believe in will lead to an evident mass protest and maybe even communal riots, as they might be deciphered as harm to their community in particular. And forcing fundamental duties on world's second largest population isn't practical at all. The beauty of our constitution is such that the other laws check the non-contributing members and harmful citizens. India is a democratic and a beautiful land of bureaucracy. So enforcing fundamental duties is just? No, this isn't a regime or a dictatorship where one leader and one mind is absolutely necessary or there will be consequences. Do we want moral grounds of people to be based on fear of consequence? Do we want to be those parents who force their child into doing things and later on the child grows up to be oppressed and a bad member of society? No. Moral grounds is what you believe in. Changing 1.3 billion people to fall under one vision when there's so much of diversity in our country is not practical. Thank you. Have a nice day and happy Independence Day.
Yes, beta, you may start.
Okay. Good day. I am participant number 9 and I will be speaking for the motion. Should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law? Mahatma Gandhi once said, no people have risen who thought only of rights, only those who did so thought of duties. There is a major loss on the basic concept of fundamental duties. They were made to involve citizens as a part of the welfare of the country, but instead, the citizens expect the government to perform these duties for them. If fundamental duties are not performed, then the rate of development slows down because the socio-economic conditions get negatively affected. Fundamental duties serve as the palladium of fundamental rights of the people. Such a vital set of duties need to be included in the legal constitution since they support basic rights of the citizens. Let me illustrate the importance of enforcement with an example. During this pandemic, if a lockdown was not enforced, people would continue going out, thus spreading the virus to a great extent. I would like to conclude by saying that the main characteristic of an ideal citizen is to abide by all rules and perform all their duties, and this will not be possible without enforcing fundamental duties in the court of law. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Today, I, participant number 11, will speak in the favor of the topic that is, should the fundamental duties be enforced by the court of law? Whenever the question arises about our constitution, the only word which strikes our mind is fundamental rights. Have we ever thought about what are our fundamental duties? The clear cut answer is no, because we, the Indians, are only bothered about our own rights. And when we ask that what about others' right? The answer is, oh, what do I care? If we want to maintain democracy within the country, it is really necessary to give fundamental duties a review under court of law. Because when we know that there is no compulsion in following our duty, then it is really a hectic and we really don't care about them. Moreover, it will help us in promoting the peace as well as commitment towards our nation. At last, I would like to end up by saying that if we want a happy and stable life, our fundamental rights and fundamental duties should go hand in hand. And this can only be possible if there is a supreme authority which keep a check on us. That's all from my side. Thank you and have a great day.
Good evening, Yashwardhan. You will first have to tell your participant number and then you will start. Just turn on the mic and tell your participant number and start.
Okay, my participant number is 24. The Constitution exists to protect rights, not undermine them. Carolina Fredrickson. Fundamental duties are the moral obligations to the citizens of a country in the Indian Constitution. Fundamental duties are not made mandatory, but they are very important for someone's life. But today I'll be speaking against the motion. Fundamental duties are not made mandatory because of the limited citizen capacity to focus more on their livelihood and earning money for their family rather than the compliance. This is very needful because the prevalent illiteracy in the lower society makes them vulnerable to humiliation and bullying by police or some other authorities. As our country is socialistic, then the most important aspect of our country should be equality, and we should focus upon that. Equality. This is only possible when everyone unites together and when the government gives certain benefits and reservations to the citizen of the country. As a state, as a representative entity, it is our moral right to behave and to protect our country from these types of obligation and keep them safe in our Indian Constitution. In the end, I would like to quote by Benjamin Franklin. The Constitution only gives people right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. It is with the people's interest that they must adhere for the rules for the betterment of our country together and united. Become the citizen of India. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Today, I code number 10 is going to present my views against the motion on the topic: should fundamental duties be made enforceable in court of law? Fundamental duties are the moral obligation of citizens of India given in Article 4, given by Part 4A of Constitution. These duties provide us support to spread unity about our country. Now, these duties are not. Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Today, I code number 10 is going to present my views against the motion on the topic: should fundamental duties must be made enforceable in court of law? Fundamental duties are basically the obligations, moral obligation for the citizen of our country to provide them, which help them to spread unity and spirit of patriotism. Now, these duties are not justiciable, and I believe that these must not be made enforceable in near future as well, because their enforcement will surely clash with the existing fundamental rights and may also hamper the base of our constitution, that is democracy. Moreover, due to ineffective judiciary system of India, passing such a proposal will not do less than creating burden on court. And anyway, we are citizens. We are not animals that we require sticks and to follow all the rules and regulations, right? Hence, instead of enforcement of these duties, it must be made usual with the help of education and awareness that must be started from ground level and to go to higher studies, and must also be spread even to remote part of our country. Now, as a conclusion, I would say that behind every successful policy, not only strict law and order is required, but people consent is also required. Hence, propagating these duties, these fundamental duties as customs and ethics will gain more support instead of forcing them on people. Thank you and have a nice day.
Yes, beta, you may start. Good evening, beta. Can you hear me?
Ma'am, me?
Yeah, you have to start.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Please start.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I am here to talk about for the motion. So, according to me, the fundamental rights are required. It is from the law, because if there are laws and all, everyone can follow, and country can build up a good diversity, and it will have. So they can help each other, and everyone can follow everything. So, according to me, it is required. Hello?
Good afternoon, Miss. Miss, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you and you can start. You can start. Okay.
Today, I, participant 30, will be speaking for the motion fundamental duties should be made enforceable in the court of law. Fundamental duties are moral obligation of each citizen to their country. They promote the spirit of patriotism and unity. Basically, fundamental duties defines our role as citizens of a nation. Undermining fundamental duties and only considering fundamental rights is like trying to clap your hands, but only with one hand. In other words, it is an incomplete system. On the other hand, I believe that not performing fundamental duties can violate someone else's fundamental rights. For example, one fundamental duty of India is to promote the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, and sectional diversities. Not fulfilling this duty can eventually lead to discrimination, which violates our fundamental rights, our right to equality. With great power comes great responsibility. Having fundamental rights is essential as citizens, but performing duties is also as important. When everyone performs their fundamental duties, it would pave a way for a better neighborhood, a better society, and eventually a better country. And for these reasons, the motion must stand. Thank you very much and happy Independence Day.
Manika, you may start. Please tell your participant number, right? Let everyone know your participant number and then start.
Okay, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're
Okay, ma'am.
audible. You're audible.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, honorable judges, viewers, teachers, and all my worthy opponents. I'm Anta Pandey, participant number 23, class 12, going to express my views in the favor of the motion. Should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law? I would like to start with the great words of US President John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Fundamental duties are very much important for building a nationhood and a vibrant civil society. It was a timely reminder that citizens, apart from enjoying the protection of fundamental rights, should also commit their duties as per the requirement of the society and the government. On November 26, 2019, Constitution Day, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, the Constitution highlights both rights and duties of citizens, and it's time to focus on responsibilities as well. In Ramayana, it is also mentioned about duties, and in Bhagavad Gita, which is the guide of life for all, it is stated in Sanskrit, Karmarne vadhikarasya mam phaleshu kadachine, means duties are always important to impart without thinking about its result. Imparting duties is very much important. It ensures integrity, sovereignty, and equality of the nation, and it creates the feeling of responsibilities towards country in the heart of the citizens. Every developed countries had enforced duties in the court of law. Example Israel, USSR, Japan, China, etc. So it is very much important to enforce the duties by the court of law. I conclude with the great words of Gandhiji. Our duties are the right source of our rights. And if we discharge our duties properly, then we will not need to demand any right. Last but not the least, I express my heartfelt gratitude to Archwin International School in association with Sahara District Legal Service Authority to giving me this great opportunity in this pandemic situation. Thank you. Happy Independence Day. Jai Hind.
Niharika, you may turn on your mic and start with your debate. Please tell your participant numbers to all the judges and then start. Please unmute yourself and start.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, beta, you are audible and you may start.
In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, and I quote, Ma'am, am I audible? Ma'am?
Yes, you are audible. You are audible.
Okay, ma'am. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, and I quote, begin with the duties of a man, the rights will follow as spring follows winter. A very, a very important good evening to everyone present here. Today, I pres- today I participant number 19 will share my views for the motion of the topic. Fundamental duties are important to protect the liberty and freedom of the citizen against the invasion by the state. In the same context, we all remember our fundamental rights, but often forget our fundamental duties. Let me take an example about the fundamental duty about unity. We all say unity in diversity is the speciality of our country. But are we united? In the same vein, let me tell you a story about my grandpa. He was traveling through train, but because of chaos, he fell down on the track and was severely injured. But none of the passengers even tried to help him. After all that, how can I expect that we are united? We all are hypocrites. But if the fundamental duties will be enforced by the law, something like this would not have happened. Finally, yet importantly, I would like to conclude by saying that fundamental duties should be enforced in the court of law for the development of the country, and everyone can build the habit of following fundamental duties among individuals. Thank you.
Hello. Ma'am, am I
Good
audible?
evening, Devanshi. Good evening, Devanshi. We can hear you. You just let everyone know your participant number and start.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, honorable judges, teachers, listeners, and my worthy opponent. Before I start, I would like to share one of the great quote by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. We are having this liberty in order to reform with a social system which is full of inequality, discrimination, and other things which is fundamental, which conflict with a fundamental duty. This is participant number 22. Today I am going to speak against the motion fundamental duty should be enforced in the court of law. Now, what are fundamental duties? The moral obligation of all the citizens to promote the spirit of patriotism and to uphold the unity of India. Now, as these are statutory duties which are not enforced by the law, as we know, as my worthy opponent said, that there are 11 fundamental duties, out of which some of them are not even required in a constitution because they are not even precisely defined. Ultimately, they are just moral postulate and they do not have justice ability. Sometimes there is over repetition of fundamental duties in a constitution. For example, the law protection law of wildlife and natural species only repeat what existing law in 1972 passed in a constitution. Out of 10 clauses we do have in a constitution, 5 are positive and 5 are negative. It must be left upon individual and nation to either perform it or not. Even Gandhiji believes in moral persuasion rather than forceful adherence. Violence. What I think when I pen it down on a paper that on November 1, 1984, there was a big riot in Delhi where over 3,000 people were just killed in violence. Just a loss of life is a big loss, nothing can compensate it. Last but not the least, I would like to say a great quote by Nirja Banot: do your duty, come what may, never compromise on injustice, and never tolerate any kind of injustice in your self respect. Thank you. Happy Independence Day.
Yes, Ridhima, you are audible. Just start, and you have to tell your participant number before starting, okay?
Good evening and a very happy Independence Day to all. My participant number is 18 and I am here to speak against the motion. Fundamental duties basically imply the moral obligations of all citizens of a country. As my worthy rivals have been saying, that fundamental duties should be made enforceable to the court of law. I sternly oppose them all. Since India is the largest democracy in the world, the citizens of India have the right to freedom. On that note, imposing fundamental duties onto them might harass their freedom. Moreover, the majority of the people being illiterate in India, many are unaware of the constitutional obligations. In this scenario, if the fundamental duties were imposed on them, it might have resulted in causing chaos and harassment. Also, if the state is unable to provide a proper climate, then to follow these duties will pose a real problem. Hence, last but not least, I would like to conclude by saying that the need of this hour is to make citizens aware of the fundamental duties and not to simply compel them to do so. Even the citizens need to understand that it is in their interest to follow these duties. Thank you.
Niharika, you may turn on your mic and start with the debate.
Every right has its responsibilities. Like the right itself, these responsibilities stem from no man made law, but from the very nature of man and society. Good evening, everyone. I, Niharika Arora, participant 43, represent here at the against of the motion. We, the bearers of these rights, do have duties to do, but a man made law is not required to oblige us into it. There are many stances that support my argument. From what I believe, we should first process what must have gone down well in the thinking of constitution makers in this regard. Could be the reason that Indian people have always performed such duties, rather having made it an integral part and parcel of their lives ever since the dawn of Indian civilization. Because whatever has been delineated under fundamental duties in the present day's constitution is nothing more than the codification of those tasks that have always remained central to Indian way of life. Say, for an example, the duty that a citizen should protect the security, sovereignty, and integrity of the country, or to protect the natural environment, lakes, or forest and wildlife with a compassion for living creation. All of them had been exhibited by Indian people in ample amount throughout the civilizational history of India. Moreover, I would not hesitate to say that the fundamental duties are instinctively enshrined in the golden character of each Indian. Then why to exhort enforcement in the court of law? And as we all know, the constitution makers were more concerned with the fundamental rights which they wanted to secure through the constitution for the people of their country, for the upcoming generation, for all of us. They wanted to secure it through the constitution, the worth of which they themselves had acknowledged during the colonial period, and thus wanted to have no dilution in their rule.
or scope by providing any countervailing provision like fundamental duties in the Constitution. I have a firm faith that it was not intended, even by the concerned constitutional amendment, that these duties would carry along a character of enforceability. Instead, what was envisaged was to make these duties as a part of educational process of the country, to inculcate a sense of realization among the Indian citizenry. This is also corroborated by their being placed in constitution just after the directive principles. I mean, like having a plain reading of these mentioned duties, we can discern that there are so many duties which appear to be legally unenforceable by virtue of their being imprecise or vague, and thus do not convey any definite idea or ideas worth implemented or legal enforcement. Let's see a duty calling upon citizens to cherish and follow noble ideas which inspired a national struggle for freedom, or for that matter, another duty that calls upon a citizen to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform, etc. Could hardly be legally enforced. I would conclude by saying we should not be obliged by any law to perform our duties to our nation. It would only result in duties being carried out half heartedly or in the fear of penalty. And that, my friends, I don't think was the goal for these duties. Thank you.
Ma'am, may I start?
Yes, you may start.
A very warm good evening to my panel of judges and my dear friends. It's me, participant 13, going for the motion with the topic. So, today I'm going to talk about for the motion with the topic should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law. So, we know that the fundamental duties have been incorporated in the Constitution to make sure and to remind the citizens that they should not be only conscious about their fundamental rights but also about their fundamental duties. Do you think so? The rights can be, everyone will receive their rights if they don't do their duties. Duties are also very important. And as a citizen, you need to do all your duties very properly. So, according to me, I do agree that these fundamental duties need to be legally binded or legally enforced in the court of law so that the people will also come to know about the importance of fulfilling their duties. It will also bring about harmony, unity, and sovereignty in the country, which will help in the prosperity and development in country, and it will also make us a productive asset in becoming a good person and to a useful person to our country. So I would like to conclude by saying that it's very important for us to fulfill all our duties and responsibilities as being a productive and a very good citizen of India. Jai Hind. Thank you.
You may start, Beta.
Yes, ma'am. Ask not what the nation has done for you, but what you have done for the nation. A very enchanting afternoon to everyone present here. Today, I, code number 36, would like to express my firm views in the favor of the motion. Ma'am, can you hear? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Keep speaking.
Okay, ma'am. Ask not what the nation has done for you, but what you have done for the nation. A very enchanting afternoon to everyone present here. Today, I, code number 36, would like to express my firm views in the favor of the motion. The fundamental duties come before the fundamental right, but still, people treat them like they don't even exist. They will know about their fundamental right, but not about their fundamental duties. And it is a pity to know that none of these duties are performed by the citizen. We cannot adopt a cynical attitude toward the state, complaining all the time and think that the state will do everything for us. A state deserves respect and cooperation, and it is our moral obligation to behave as responsible citizens. We, as responsible citizens, are supposed to protect and preserve our natural environment. We are supposed to abide by the Constitution and show respect to national symbols. And what are we doing? Well, we are even making an issue over singing of our national anthem. Environment protection, well, that doesn't even crosses our mind. We as citizens have failed the Constitution, and that is why the fundamental duties should be made legally binding to restore their importance and the value of our hard-earned freedom with lot of blood. By all that being said, I would like to rest my case. Thank you.
There are some such demons in our society who are like boon to our nation. There are always debating and fighting with the government and the system for their rights and equal opportunities. But when it comes for performing their duties towards their nation, they are always silent. Like there are some specific groups in the society who are always debating for the equality and equal opportunities. But when it comes to perform their fundamental duties, they are always silent. For example, they are not performing the fundamental duties like educating 6 to 14 years child, especially girls, where they are always like, what is the need? Girls' child are always oppressed and never sent to school. Some such example are are there in our day-to-day life, like talking about the unity of India. But where did that unity go when there is an conflict between Hindus and Muslims? People are always having disputes related to unity and integrity of our nation, as a result of which there are fights between Hindu community and Islamic community, which gives a lot of damage to nature and property. That's why I think that fundamental duties should be enforced in a court so that who do not abide the constitution and its laws should be punished on, or there should be some steps taken against them.
Yes, participant number 35. Please unmute yourself and start speaking. Beta, you're not audible. Please check your mic once.
Everyone, ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, very well. Please start.
Good morning, everyone. I am participant number 35, and today I am going to present a debate for the topic: should duties fundamental duties be enforced in the court of law or not? The for in the favor of it. The fundamental duties should be for enforced in the court of law, as they uh, make the society very much dignized. It makes everything organized. The things that are being the things which are being affected, etc., become slow, and as a result many of the criminal records, etc., go slow, and each and every person uh, gets the right to get everything, and therefore it also represents the purpose of humanity. Happy Independence Day to all, and thank you.
Yes, please say your participant
Ma'am,
number.
may I start?
Yes, please start.
Okay, ma'am. A very good evening to all the respected dignitaries on the dais and all who are present here. I am participant number 37 and I will speak for the motion. Fundamental duties. They serve as a constant reminder of national goals and inculcate a profound sense of social responsibility and moral obligations. Fundamental duties are inserted in the Constitution by 42nd Amendment in 1976, and there are 11 fundamental duties currently in our Constitution. Some of fundamental duties, these are so important as our country is diverse in various sense. Our environment is worsening day by day, so there is need to protect it. Also, education is so important key to success. In the nutshell, it can be said that the fundamental duties should be made enforceable in the court as a law as people are so stubborn that they do not understand until something is imposed upon them. For example, in the case of lockdown, people didn't understand until they were beaten up by the police. Government effort cannot be successful until citizens participate into them. Also, not to forget that rights and duties go hand in hand, and Parliament should impose penalty or punishment in case of non-compliance. I would like to end with a quote that small changes bring big repercussion. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Happy Independence Day. Ma'am, may I leave?
Yes, please leave. Thank you.
Ma'am, may I leave?
Yes, dear, please leave. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, please unmute yourself and start speaking. Yes, please unmute yourself and start speaking.
To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. The statements mentioned above are a few of our fundamental duties. We all know them. But do we understand them? Do we follow them diligently? Greetings, everyone. I'm Lavam Gulati, and I would deliberate my views in support of the motion. Should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law? No matter if you are a law abiding human, the testimony is that you desire to live on a planet that is liberated from any sort of restriction. What if we are not made to perform our fundamental duties? What if it is not a compulsion to perform them? If the people are given a choice to not to perform these duties, they will definitely opt for it. Human nature is to omit the choices which makes them confined and restricted. It is not reasonably feasible to expect the people to do what they should when they are not made to do it. Amid the upsurge of the pandemic, the government had
Lavam,
advised us to stay indoors.
Lavam, I'm so sorry to stop you in between. I would request you to please switch on your camera and start again.
Okay, just a minute, ma'am, just a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, should I start now? Ma'am, should I start?
Yes, Lavam, please start.
To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national anthem and the national flag. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. The statements mentioned above are a few of our fundamental duties. We all know them, but do we understand them? Do we follow them diligently? Good evening, everyone. I'm Lavam Gulati, and I will deliberate on in support of the motion. Fundamental duties should be made enforceable in the court of law. No matter if you are a law-abiding human, the testimony is that you desire to live on a planet that is liberated from any sort of restrictions. What if we are not made to perform our fundamental duties? What if it is not a compulsion to perform them? If the people are given a choice to not to perform these duties, they will definitely opt for it. Human nature is to omit the choices which makes them confined and restricted. It is not reasonably feasible to expect the people to do what they should when they are not made to do it. Amid the upsurge of the pandemic, the government had advised us to stay indoors. Had it been followed with sincerity, the cases of infected civilians would not have crossed the mark of 2.4 million all over India. We are suggested to practice fraternity and treat each individual as equal. Do we not have any inhibitions to wearing shabby clothes on the roadside? It is expected that the citizens would follow the traffic rules in the absence of the cops. But the dominant attitudes persuade us to comply to the traffic rules in accordance with the presence of the invigilators. Competitors with a different stance might claim that the citizens are responsible enough to fathom their responsibilities and enforcement isn't needed. Would you not eat junk food when you know that the consequences are hazardous? No mouse would invent a mousetrap, but did we not invent atom bombs? Thank you.
Lavam, please announce your participant number.
2.
You're 42, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. You may leave the stream now. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, please announce you're audible. Please announce your participant number and start speaking.
Okay. Oh my God! Look at the dirtiness of the road and look at how much garbage is piled up in the footpath. This is just one of the examples of what the people says when they see a dirty road or a lot of garbage accumulated in one area. But have you ever thought, why don't we, the people as citizens of India, come together and take a step to make the roads cleaner? This is what is told in the fundamental duties of India and what India needs to grow forward, to grow more. Just like a child needs special care from its parents and certain guidelines, even a country needs certain guidelines which are listed in the Constitution of India as fundamental rights and fundamental duties to go forward. I, participant 29, wish a good afternoon to all of you. And I'm speaking for the topic why should whether the fundamental rights should be enforced by the court of law. Just like I had given an example of a child, if you go to a school by wearing informal dress, I'm sure they will ask you to pay fine. You know that there are many rules prescribed in a school. In the same way, there are many rules prescribed in the constitution of our country. Whenever we do not follow them, it's actually we are violating the law. I would like to conclude my speech by saying Happy Independence Day. Join and let us make our India an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Please announce your participant number. So that was participant number 29.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I'd request everyone to please announce your participant number and then speak. Because otherwise it's very difficult for the judges to mark you. Thank you. You may leave the stream now. Yes, please announce your participant number, switch on your camera and start.
Namaste. Happy Independence Day to all. I'm participant number 21. I would like to share my thoughts on for the motion of should fundamental duties be enforced by the court of law. Constitution is the base of our country. As a responsible citizen, we should follow all the rules and regulation. But people are increasingly vocal about the fundamental duties envisaged by the Constitution, which make us the responsible citizen of our country. Citizens are the pillars of our country, and we should enforce these duties for ourselves, our nation, and for the whole world. We should not only seek for more rights, but also to follow the duties as to become a responsible citizen. A nation is only as great as people who constitute it. It is not the constitution that fails us, but it is we who fail the constitution. So I conclude my words by saying firmly that fundamental duties should be enforced in the court of law. Thank you and have a great evening ahead.
Ma'am, should I start?
Yes, please start. Just announce your participant number and start.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I am participant number 28. Today, I am here to present my views against the motion. We are having this liberty in order to reform our social system, which is full of inequalities, discrimination, and other things, which conflict with our fundamental right. This is a famous quote given by Shri B.R. Ambedkar. To begin with, I would like you to imagine a scenario wherein you are not willing to do something, but you are forced to do that. How would you feel? Of course, not good. In a similar way, one of the fundamental duties states that we should follow and cherish the principles of our national leaders. True that. But it's not necessary that everyone would have the same ideology. Therefore, if it becomes a law, it would be very uncomfortable for majority of us. We will not be able to perform our duties wholeheartedly. Similarly, another duty states that we should protect and improve our environment, forest, and wildlife. We all agree to this, but think about those indigenous and tribal people who reside in the remote and hilly areas and they are fully dependent on the forest for their livelihood. And if this fundamental duty becomes a law, it would be very difficult for them to earn their livelihood. Till date, fundamental duties are not made enforceable in the court of law. Do you know why so? According to me, performing duties is a sense of responsibility which comes from within. Also, they inculcate a feeling of patriotism, belongingness, and compassion towards our nation. And nobody can direct us for how we should express our feeling for patriotism. Moreover, if the duties will be made enforceable in the court of law, many people, just for the sake of fun, would file a case against others, and such petty cases will be a burden on the Indian courts, which already have thousands of pending cases. To conclude, I would say fundamental duties should remain a moral obligation only and not become a compulsion. Thank you. Wishing you all a very happy Independence Day.
Yes, please switch on your camera, announce your participant number, unmute yourself and start speaking. Please unmute yourself, announce your participant number and start speaking.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you're very much audible. Please start.
Good evening. I, participant number 27, is going to present my arguments in favor of the topic should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law. Mr. Kennedy once said, ask not what the nation has done for you, but what you have done for the nation. This describes the prevailing situation of India. People are vocal about their fundamental rights for which they damage public property, but they forget that the Constitution also expects us to perform our fundamental duties as a citizen. People adopt a cynical attitude towards the state where they keep complaining all the time and think that the state will do everything for them. They forget that with great powers comes great responsibility. Just pause and ponder. Have we done our duties as citizens adequately? The answer is no. We as citizens have failed collectively to discharge our moral obligation towards the Constitution by not performing our duties wholeheartedly. I strongly believe that fundamental rights and fundamental duties are complementary and not exclusive of each other. Therefore, I reiterate that the problem at hand must be addressed your way. The fundamental rights and the duties go hand in hand. It's a give and take situation. The relationship should be such, and only then the bond will be stronger, which will in turn evoke true feelings. If today you think of abandoning your fundamental duties, I say abandon your fundamental rights as well. Brotherhood will come when we understand and aim towards the needs of our brothers and not just ourselves. And if brotherhood will come when not practicing it becomes punishable, then so it be. It is better to have obligatory brotherhood than slaughtering of brotherhood in the name of our rights and privileges. It's time we pay for our misconduct. Happy Independence Day to all. Let's use our independence for the betterment of our nation. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please announce your participant number and start.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening to one and all. I am participant number 25 and I'm here to express my views on the topic should fundamental duties be enforced in the court of law? And I am going to speak against it. So, here I go. Duty is something which we expect from others. This is the new definition which we people have created just because we do not want to do anything. There are 11 fundamental duties, and unlike fundamental rights, these are not included in the Constitution because the makers thought that people would not be able to cope up with so much after the colonialism. Okay, so take the example of a country, North Korea. There is law for everything. and that country is no less than a dictatorship. I think you consider one more fundamental duty. There is a duty which says preserve culture. I think some of the cultures are flawed. Take the example of Ghungat Pratha. That is just an obstacle in the development of country. There is another fundamental duty which says give dignity to women. I don't understand why do we need a law to give dignity to women? Why can't it be considered as our own responsibility as a citizen? So these are some of the reasons which make me believe that there is no need for fundamental laws to be enforced in the code. Thank you and happy Independence Day.
Yes, please start. Announce your participant number and start.
Good evening, everyone. Ma'am, am I audible? Okay, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. My participation number is 26. Today, I'll go with the motion for the topic. When the Constitution was adopted in 1949, it didn't contain the provision for fundamental duties. Later, Article 51A was inserted for these duties. There are total 11 duties, but I feel they should not just be treated as duties, but they should be enforced by the law. Because the things that recently happened during this corona time, some state governments have started enforcing the laws for damaging public property and violating sovereignty of our nation. We need more such laws for we need more such strict measures to ensure every citizen's safety and integrity. I personally believe that the national anthem and the national flag of our country has so much values hidden in them, which reflects the struggle behind the freedom of our country, or and the national anthem, which reflects our rich cultural heritage. But still, people don't, especially the youth, don't respect them. So, actually, the and but still people, especially the youth, don't respect them. These duties also include our readiness for the defense of our country and promoting brotherhood, conservation of the forest and wildlife. It promotes the feeling of humanism. So I feel perspectives are very important for the development of our country, and by penalizing those goons who violate the law will set an example for others who take the law in hand and make fun of our constitution. We must respect our constitution and endeavor to safeguard it at any cost. Thank you all of you, and I wish you a very happy Independence Day. Thank you so much.
Yes, dear. Please announce your participant number and start speaking. Announce your participant number, Vidhi, and please start.
Ma'am, I am audible.
Yes, you're very much audible. Please start.
A very pleasant evening to everyone present there. Today, I, the participant number 32, has got the golden opportunity to express my views in the favor of the motion. Should fundamental duties be made enforceable in the court of law? As all of you are aware that every citizen is bounded by the fundamental duties, but they are morally bounded, not legally. We see in various news that people violate their fundamental duties by hunting endangered animals, creating riots on the basis of religion, caste, etc. I would like to ask my worthy opponents that we see many people who write their names which violate the fundamental law. So, is it fine to continue the violation of fundamental law, or do we need some strict laws? When we go to cinema, we see many people who don't respect the national anthem. So, this means that we need very strict laws to stop the violation of fundamental duties. At last, I would like to conclude by saying that keeping the importance of fundamental duties in view, these should be made enforceable in the court of law. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yes, please announce your participant number and start speaking.
My participation number is 40. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm going to support the motion. I'm going to support the motion and saying that it is not easy to create or to form a law or the rule. The fundamental rights are one among the 42nd amendment of Indian Constitution. Of the Indian Constitution. It was introduced in the year 1976 by the recommendation of Swaran Singh Institute. and so it is so it is known that the fundamental rights are the fundamental rights allows the citizens to create equality among the people. The fundamental rights such as the right to equality, the right to freedom, the right against exploitation, the right to freedom of religion, uh, the cultural and educational rights are required for each and every citizen of India. Thus, thus it needs to be enforceable in the court of law. Thank you.
Yes, please start. Tell us your participant number and start.
Good evening, all. My participant number is 38, and I'm going to talk for the motion. Fundamental duties are like a constant reminder of the citizens while they are enjoying their fundamental rights, not to forget their responsibilities and duties towards their nation. They are like warning signals preventing citizens from doing any antisocial activities. This reduces the violation of law. It promotes a sense of equality, discipline, and commitment all over the nation. Fundamental duties are very much important for building nationhood and a vibrant civil society. They are no less important than any other fundamental rights. Many citizens are there who wholeheartedly work for their nation, but there are certain citizens to whom measures are taken to shake them out of their slumber and make them understand our country's hard-earned freedom and how much efforts our leaders took to form such a constituent assembly. I would like to conclude my words by putting forward my views that fundamental duties should be made legally binding and not left upon the will and thought of the society. Therefore, there has to be some cost for liberties. Thank you.
Yes, Laya. Please announce your participant number.
Laya, please start your debate.
Laya, you're not audible.
Can you hear me?
Your voice is cracking up. No, Laya, your voice is cracking up. Yes, Laya, please announce your participant number and start your debate.
Hello?
Laya, we can hear you. Please start. So we have come to the end of today's competition, and we have heard a lot many ideas, and we're very happy that students are thinking critically. So now I would like Miss Nalini Behel, ma'am, to please share a few words with us about today's event, however she felt like. Ma'am, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. I'm extremely delighted and honored to be a part of this interesting session as one of the judges, and on a day, on the 74th Independence Day of our country. My heartfelt thanks to all of you and heartfelt wishes to all of you on this occasion. At the outset, I would first I like to congratulate each one of these participants for I place on record the effort they have put in and they've shown enthusiastic participation in this competition. I thoroughly enjoyed sitting through this session, and I was quite impressed to find some of you giving, coherently, I'm very impressed with some of your logics given and coherently presented arguments. young speakers. They were commendable. I appreciate your logical arguments, your presence, and continue to work like this. Only children. Actually, it's always delightful to be with you people, to be with the young people, with young speakers. Listen to their arguments, listen to their ideas, and how and what they think, what they want to put forth, because it matters. You're the young people, and you are going to be you are the stakeholders, and you are going to be the stakeholders of our future. So it definitely matters a lot. Thank you so much, children. Love you all. I express my heartfelt thanks to Shadra District Legal Services Authority also for giving me this opportunity to be, the active participant of this debate, and for giving a lovely theme to the children to speak on. To conclude, I was thinking that I like to address the young children. I truly feel, children, and some of you have mentioned it also beautifully, that duties are moral obligations. Now, these obligations obligate every citizen, obligates everyone to respect the Constitution, the national symbols, cherish our heritage, preserve our composite culture, protect the environment, protect the public property. So I really wonder at times that we, the so called civilized society, still need to be scared of something. We will only do these things, these duties, we'll perform these duties only if we don't, with the fear that we will be penalized for it, with the fear that we'll be punished for it. I really wonder at times. It's very sad that so-called civilized society, we still are not realizing what our duties are. So that's what I feel. Probably this is a debatable, topic, certainly, and you've done a great job, children. Thank you so much. I would again like to tell you that you must introspect. You must think for yourself. You must analyze. Do we have to be taught our duties? Do we have to have a law to make us dutiful? This is for you to understand and realize. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to me. Thank you. Love you all.
Next, we would like Rosemary ma'am to share a few words with us.
A very good evening. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. A very good evening, everyone. Heartiest wishes on the 74th Independence Day to all my brothers and sisters of my nation. I congratulate the organizers of this debate, Ms. Swapna Nair, Principal Arvachin International School, and Mrs. Vidhi Gupta Anand, Secretary, DLSA Shahadra. My gratitude to Shahadra District Legal Service Authority for making me a part of this. Also, my gratitude to Mr. Arun Sharma sir, Director, Arvachin International, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this interesting debate. The most interesting part that I was very much impressed is, as Nalini ma'am said, that the participation of the children who so enthusiastically expressed their views and the efforts made by them through this pandemic, like they became so much aware and engrossed for the thought. And today I am just leaving this debate. It was a very engrossing food for thought for me, which I am carrying home today. So thank you and stay blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And now I would request Ms. Sakshi to share a few words with us. Sakshi ma'am, am I audible to you? I guess we have lost Sakshi ma'am due to network issues. We'll graciously ask her to speak when she gets back to us. I would like to request our respected director, sir, to kindly share a few words of knowledge about how he liked today's program, as it was his initiative to take this up with us.
नमस्कार, सबका हार्दिक अभिनंदन है। आज के दिन, आज 74वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस पर एक ऐसे विषय पे बात करना बहुत ही अच्छा लगा। सुनकर सभी बच्चों के व्यूज मिले हैं और उनके, मुझे लगता है जिन्होंने अगेंस्ट बोला है शायद उनको तैयार भी किया गया होगा। ऐसा भी होता है कि कुछ को अगेंस्ट तैयार किया जाता है, कुछ को फेवर में तैयार किया जाता है। लेकिन मैं कुछ जरूर कहना चाहूँगा सभी बच्चों से भी और आप लोगों से भी, क्योंकि आज स्वतंत्रता दिवस है तो इस बात को हमें समझना चाहिए, बच्चों को भी, कि स्वतंत्रता शब्द का अर्थ क्या है। स्वतंत्र शब्द दो शब्दों से मिलकर के बना है, स्व और तंत्र, यानी अपना बनाया हुआ तंत्र, अपना बनाया हुआ कानून, कायदा, नियम, सभी चीजें। तो हमें स्वतंत्रता में रहने का अभिप्राय ये है कि इस अपने बनाए हुए तंत्र के अधीन हमको रहना है। तो इससे क्या हुआ कि हम स्वच्छंद नहीं हुए। अगर हम दूसरे के जो अधिकार हैं उनकी परवाह करते हुए अगर हम अपना जीवन जीते हैं, तो इसका मतलब हम उन सभी ड्यूटीज का पालन करते हैं जो हमारे से अपेक्षित हैं। हम भी दूसरे से चाहते हैं कि हमारी जो अधिकार हैं उनके अंदर कोई अनधिकार चेष्टा दूसरा ना करे, तो हमारा भी कर्तव्य ये बनता है कि हम दूसरे के अधिकारों में ना जाएं। अगर ऐसा हम करते हैं तो हम सभी अगर ऐसा करते हैं तो ना तो हमारे ही अधिकारों को कोई डिस्टर्ब करता है और ना हम ही किसी दूसरे के अधिकारों को डिस्टर्ब करते हैं। यानी स्वतंत्रता में एक अनुशासन है, स्वतंत्रता में ही वो एक तरीका है रहने का जिसमें किसी दूसरे को कोई किसी तरह की परेशानी ना हो। यही है ड्यूटीज के बारे में, कि हम लोग अगर अपनी ड्यूटीज की परवाह पहले करें, अधिकारों की बात बाद में करें, तो शायद सभी लोग बहुत अच्छे से रह पाएंगे और एक राष्ट्र की जो हम प्रगति की बात करते हैं, राष्ट्र के उत्थान की बात करते हैं, वो सामने आ सकता है। दूसरा, एक ह्यूमैनिटी का एक बेसिक जो वाक्य है जिसको हम लोग चाहते हैं सभी करना, वो है परहित का कार्य, यानी दूसरे के हित का कार्य। अभी आपने देखा कितना बड़ा एक कोरोना पेंडेमिक आया और उसमें बहुत ही एक ऐसी अदृश्य और एक नई बीमारी जिसके बारे में किसी को कुछ पता नहीं था, और ऐसा लगा था शुरू में कि बहुत ही ज़्यादा घातक रहेगी हिंदुस्तान के लिए, तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा परेशानी का कारण बन सकती है। लेकिन बहुत सारे लोगों ने अपनी जान की परवाह ना करते हुए दूसरों के लिए कितना सेवा कार्य किया है इस पूरे कोरोना काल के दौरान, शायद हम सबको इसके बारे में नहीं जानते होंगे। पूरे देश में जबकि पूरा लॉकडाउन हो गया, एक भी उदाहरण कहीं ऐसा नहीं मिलता है कि कोई भूखा आदमी अपनी उसके भूख के कारण उसकी जान गई हो। ऐसा इसलिए हुआ कि समाज अचानक ही खड़ा हुआ और दूसरों के लिए भोजन की व्यवस्था करना, राशन की व्यवस्था करना और उन तक पहुंचाना, अपनी जान की कोई परवाह नहीं की कि भाई हमारा क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा। तो ये जो दूसरे के हित के लिए काम करने की सोच है, ये उन ड्यूटीज को ही पूरा करने की बात हो रही है जिनके बारे में अभी इस पूरे डिबेट में चर्चा हुई है। ये स्वतः स्फूर्त अपने आप से ही मन में आता है कि मेरी ये ड्यूटी है कि मैं समाज के लिए कुछ करूं, और इस समय अगर ये जरूरत है कि किसी को खाना चाहिए तो मेरी ये ड्यूटी है कि मैं उसे खाना पहुंचाऊं, उसको खाना खिलाऊं, और इस परवाह को किए बगैर कि भाई मेरी जान को भी कुछ तकलीफ हो सकती है, मेरे परिवार भी मेरी तरफ देख रहा है और उसके लिए मेरी कुछ जिम्मेदारियां हैं, उसको भी छोड़ते हुए, सारी बातों को भूलते हुए और जाकर के समाज की सेवा करना, ऐसे में ये एक बहुत बड़ी बात है। इसको अपनी ड्यूटी मानना ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। अब रह जाता है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कौन कौन सी ड्यूटीज हमारी लिखी हुई हैं। मुझे लगता है इस सब के बाहर कुछ भी नहीं है। व्यवहारिक तौर पे अगर आप देखेंगे, सभी बच्चे भी इस बात को समझें कि अगर हम दूसरे के अधिकारों की परवाह करनी शुरू कर दें तो हमारी सारी ड्यूटीज अपने आप ही पूरी हो जाती हैं। हमें उन ड्यूटीज को पढ़ने की भी आवश्यकता शायद ना पड़े। तो आज के दिन इस बारे में चर्चा करने के लिए, बच्चों की मानसिकता में इस बात को लाने के लिए मैं बहुत बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ, बहुत ज़्यादा धन्यवाद करता हूँ डीएलएसए का कि उन्होंने अर्वाचीन परिवार को ये मौका दिया कि हम इस तरह का एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाएं जिस पे बच्चे इस तरह की सोच अपने दिमाग में लाएं। क्योंकि आज ये बच्चे अगर ऐसा सोचते हैं कि ड्यूटीज़ के बारे में, कि ड्यूटीज़ होनी चाहिए नहीं होनी चाहिए, क्या होना चाहिए क्या नहीं, इर्रिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एनी काइंड ऑफ व्यू, मुझे लगता है कि वो सोच भी अपने आप में बहुत अच्छी बात क्रिएट करेगी और इन बच्चों के समझ में ये आएगा कि हमें अपने समाज के लिए कभी ना कभी, जब भी मौका लगेगा, कुछ ना कुछ करना है। और यही एक प्रतिबद्धता, एक कमिटमेंट इन बच्चों के दिमाग में आज अगर बैठती है तो वो राष्ट्र के उत्थान में बहुत बड़ी सहायक होगी। मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ आप सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स का, सभी जजेस का, नलिनी मैम खासतौर से आपका, आपके एक्सपीरियंस के साथ में जितना हम लोगों को आज तक मिलता रहा है, आगे भी मिलेगा। और आज आपने जो बातें कही वो सब मैं भी कहना चाहता था, लेकिन आपने कही तो मैंने दोहराया नहीं उनको। तो बच्चों के लिए आपका और बाकी सभी जजेस का भी, जो भी आपने बातें कही हैं बहुत अच्छी हैं और बच्चे उसको फॉलो भी करेंगे। और मैं चाहता हूँ कि ये बच्चे इस बारे में बाद में भी चिंतन करते रहें तो बहुत अच्छा है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सबको, बहुत बहुत नमस्कार, जय हिंद।
Ma'am, we have one student here, Ria. Can she speak?
Yes, ma'am. Let us bring her in and listen to her, and then we'll go for the results.
Okay, ma'am.
Please allow the child and then we can go for the result.
Ria, you can just unmute yourself and announce your participation.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, dear. Please start. Announce your participant number and start.
Ma'am, participant number is 17, and my competition partner is Tanya Roy. Ma'am, can we wait for her just for 2 minutes?
Dear, why don't you start your debate and then we'll listen to your partner too? Because you'll be
Ma'am,
speaking one by one.
ma'am, actually she's having some problem. Ma'am, she's just joining.
No, that's okay, but can we listen to you first so that we utilize the time and then we'll listen to her too?
Okay, ma'am. All right, ma'am. I'm starting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, respected teachers. Myself, Riya Singh from Siddharth International Public School. Today, I'm going to present my some of my points on should fundamental duties be enforceable in court of law. Fundamental duties should be enforceable in law of court because they are very much important for building nationhood and a vibrant civil society. Fundamental duties should be enforceable, otherwise, citizens thought that they can do whatever they want to do and also can violate laws and not take any action in favor of duties towards our reaction. But fundamental duties helps us that we shouldn't use fundamental rights in a wrong way. India is a secular country, as we all know. Different types of communities live here. That's why we have to impose these fundamental duties on citizens strictly to make a healthy and peaceful society. Fundamental duties are important for citizens as it helps us to realize our duty towards our nation. Though it not help to remove all the social norms, but yes, it helps us to abolish a lot of problems which we are facing in our society in today's generation also. If we want to remove poverty, illiteracy rate, crime against women and children, stereotype problems, unemployment problems, etc., etc., these fundamental duties help in the promotion of a sense of discipline and commitment towards the nation. Fundamental duties are not deprive us from our right. In fact, they help us in realizing our duty towards our nation and also realizing national goals by the active participation of citizens rather than mere spectators. Mm, Fundamental duties should be imposed on citizens and government, um, citizens and government strictly because it helps us to uh, achieve and provoke towards our nation. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Ma'am, one more participant has joined us and is waiting here.
Uh, let this child speak and then we have to announce the result, Karima.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I'll do that. Zainab, you may start.
Thank you, ma'am, for the recognition. Good afternoon, respected ma'am and sir. Myself, Zainab, and I am from our own English High School, Sharjah. I'm a very proud Indian, and I must say that the Indian laws and rules and regulations are awesome because it keeps the country united. And along with the laws, rules, and regulations, there are also some fundamental rights and fundamental duties. These fundamental duties tells a citizen what are the duties to for the country so that they can be a part of a country which can be cherished and progressed in the future. The fundamental duties help the citizens to show a feeling of patriotism and nationalism in their hearts and minds. And the fundamental duties follow the noble ideals that inspired the nation for struggle for freedom. And the same, if these fundamental duties would be followed up by the citizens of today, then I might say that India would be at the top list of the most developed, progressed, and the best country in the world, because these fundamental duties protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lake, river, wildlife, and have compassion for living creatures. And it values the and it also values and preserve the rich heritage of the country. So if a citizen agrees to combine these two, the economical sector and also the environmental sector, if these two are combined, then the country will grow more and more each day. So that's what I mean to say, the that each person of a country, each Indian should abide by all the fundamental duties, and these fundamental duties, if enforced by law, then no one has the right to refuse these duties. As the fundamental rights, these are enforced by law, so people, without doing any mistake or before doing any crime, they just think in their heads that maybe if I do this I would get punished because of these fundamental rights. But if these fundamental duties are also made a law, then definitely this country will grow more and more, because all the citizen must abide by rules and they would have a fear of law, because law is above everything. Each and every citizen in the country can have not much, not 100%, I'm not saying not 100%, maybe 70% of fear, because regarding the fundamental rights we see very less number of crimes. But if we go to fundamental duties, that is the environment, the culture, we see many, like these danga and these riots, all this chaos in the country. So it's my appeal to everyone, every citizen of India, to make these fundamental duties enforced by law, because if these fundamental duties are enforced by law, then mark my words and believe me that no country would be, and especially India wouldn't be at the back step, at the back foot. It would grow more and more each day without any crime and riots and anything else. With this statement, Zainab Parvez Khan would like to conclude her words. Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to request Sakshi Shukla to say a few words to the students. Is Sakshi there, one of the judges? She actually got disconnected. Yeah, thank you. Miss Sakshi, if you can just unmute yourself and speak. Thank you. Sakshi, are you there? Since two of our students have just represented themselves, so I would like to request the audience to just wait for 2 minutes. We'll just be announcing the result. We'll just announce the result in 2 minutes. I would like you to request you to kindly wait for just 5 minutes. Thank you so much for waiting. Now I would like to request Mrs. Vidhi Gupta Anand to kindly take over and announce the results.
Thank you so much, Swapna ma'am, for handing over the baton to me. It's a big responsibility, I would say. First of all, many congratulations to all the students, because participating is the most important thing in a competition. And that too, it's in a different mode today. We are having the competition virtually. I'm sure it's a new platform for all of us, but the confidence with which all the students spoke is something I really appreciate. See, as Dr. Arun Sharma has already said, that it's a privilege for us to be able to hear the young students today, the young minds today, about what they think about the duties towards the nation, I would like to add that uh, be a responsible citizen. On the 74th Independence Day today, I would like to tell all of you that if you consider your country as your home, then nothing can stop us from prospering as the leading nation, as the most developed nation in the world. You children, that is the students, you are the leaders of tomorrow, you are the future of tomorrow, and you are the ones who are going to make our country what it will be around 20 years from now. So the responsibility is on your shoulders. Keep your duties equal to your rights. जितना आप अपना हक जाहिर करने में समय लगाते हैं या अपना हक डिमांड करते हैं, उतनी ही अगर आप शिद्दत से अपनी ड्यूटीज को निभाएं तो शायद हम एक बेटर सोसाइटी, एक बेटर कंट्री बना पाए. I would thank all the judges, all the jury members today. It's an honor for me to be a part of the jury with such esteemed members, and salute to all of you, because wherever I am today, I dedicate it to the teachers. So thank you all of you. And coming now to the results, the first position goes to Miss Niharika Arora from NC Jindal Public School. She was participant number 43. The second position goes to Mr. Manas Agarwal from Indian Language School. He was participant number 8. The third position goes to Mr. Lavam Gulati. He is from NC Jindal Public School. He was participant number 42. Apart from this, we also have two consolation prizes. First consolation prize goes to Miss Sarah Abraham from Indian Language School. She was participant number 30. And second consolation prize goes to Mr. Atharv Verma from Richmond Global School, participant number 36. Congratulations to all the winners, and even more congratulations to all the participants for being a sport, being a part of this event, and making it a success. Over to you, Sapna ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing the honors, and it was a great honor. Connected some of you in between, and children, one or two students could also not speak well, but they definitely came back and spoke. I appreciate the efforts and the the dedication and the confidence with which the children spoke today. Kudos to you, children, and this has actually given you a food for thought. It was not just a debate competition, but definitely youth for fundamental duties. It is very, very important for us to realize that we need to be more and more dedicated to the fundamental duties rather than looking for our fundamental rights. It is definitely important, and I feel that if you internalize something, if you understand something, and if you feel that that is your moral responsibility, then no policing is required for that. Your moral responsibility and your own, it's a platform for introspection, children. More than a platform for competing with each other, it is definitely a platform of introspection, where we definitely want you in such time of pandemic, where people are fighting for their life, and there are so many people who've been helping others. We definitely want our youth to come up, and because youth is the power of the nation, and we definitely, with India having so much of population, youth population, about 53 million population, so we definitely feel that if you work for your fundamental duties rather than demanding your fundamental rights in the first go, we will definitely be at the top list of any economy in the country. I would like to thank DLSA for giving us this opportunity to host this competition along with you, in association with you. Surely this pandemic has given me very good friends and associates like you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Vidhi Gupta Anand, for being there always, and thank you for encouraging the children. I would like to also thank the director, Arvachin International School, Mr. Arun Sharma, who has always stood by us in all our endeavors, and who's always welcomed anything new that happens in school and always motivated the children. And I would also like to thank Mrs. Nalini Behel for sharing her experience with us. And ma'am, we are honored and privileged to have you here with the kind of experience that you have and with the kind of the warmth that you spoke to the children. I'm sure that the students will abide by what you have told them, and they will definitely prove to be the good citizens of the country. Nevertheless, Rosemary, thank you so much for being such a good friend and accepting the invitation whenever asked for. Thank you so much for being there. I would also like to thank our media partners, Sakshi from Hindustan Times, who's always there, and we have our reporter friend from Dainik Jagran, Miss Ritu Rana, with us, and she has been through the program. Thank you so much for being there. And last but not the least, I would like to thank the principals of all the schools from where we got the participation. Thank you for motivating your children. I would definitely like to thank the teacher in charges also, who have been working with the children in a very, very short span of time. They could prepare their children and send them just within 2 days. Thank you so much. And I would like to apologize also if there were any technical glitches, and if any one of you could not participate, or maybe you were made to wait in the studio. I would like to inform you that definitely children, wherever we have some advantages of technology, we do have some disadvantages as well. But then we had to be prepared for all these glitches. And but it was an honor hearing all of you on the 74th Independence Day. I really feel that we have done our bit in giving you a food for thought, and I really feel that you will pass this on the message to your friends, your neighbors, and ask them to work for the nation, because it's not only our duties towards ourselves, but our duties towards our nation, our culture, our environment, and of course, anybody and everybody who's related to us makes a lot of difference when we talk of our fundamental duties. Thank you so much for being here. Jai Hind. Thank you. Children, your certificates and your trophies will reach your school. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.